a crazy person. Hey guys, tonight we are actually going to start with a simple salad. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Racheli, and there are two very simple rules to my class. Those of you here live. The first one is, if you have a question, ask me. And the second one is more suggestive. I talk very fast sometimes. I'm Latina, that's my thing. So just stop me and say, hey, you're going too fast. And I'll slow down. So tonight we're actually going to talk about how simple ingredients can come together and make a wonderful dish. And the reason that I'm using simple, fast ingredients for tonight is because not everybody has time after they come home from work to sit down and say, okay, so what am I making tonight? And they don't have the time to go into the refrigerator and decide. It's better when you have everything ready and set to go, and that way you just make your dinner, eat it, and you're set, right? Especially on a detox diet, you want to keep eating multiple types of grains, and other colors of the rainbow. So tonight we're making a simple rainbow salad, and the reason I left the peppers on the side is because of my live students. I want to make sure that you guys are okay with peppers because they are an inflammatory vegetable. I just want to make sure that everybody is okay with that. So this month is the month of change here at Partners in Healing. No, that's downstairs. Healing Art Studio. It's the month of change because this month's movie was Hungry for Change. And it's a fantastic movie. If you didn't watch it here, go on Netflix. It's fantastic. It talks about our typical American diet and how to change and be a better you. So the color of change is actually purple. And that is the reason why tonight I'm using a purple cabbage rather than a regular cabbage. This is just not working. Okay. Rather than a regular cabbage, I'm using a purple cabbage. And the benefits of purple cabbage or red cabbage, it just looks purple. You guys gotta get your colors straight because this is just not gonna work for me. You guys keep changing colors. I see purple, you guys say red. You gotta make up your mind. So, the benefits of purple cabbage are that this is a very, very, very antioxidant, and it helps the brain. It fights cancer. And it's an amazing vegetable. You can look it up, and you'll be amazed of the amount of things that purple cabbage can do for you. And that's why I chose purple rather than an aside. You know, come on, look at that. Would it be the same if it was a green cabbage? No, because there's too much green, so you need a little sparkle there. And that's what the purple cabbage does for us in the salad. So to start a salad, those of you with handouts, you see that there's a base, which is just a regular lettuce. I chose romaine because of its crunch and because it takes time to wilt rather than like the spinach that we're going to add because it's a darker green. As soon as you add the dressing that you're going to be using to spinach, it'll start to wilt. So if you use regular romaine lettuce, it'll hold up better as your base. So we're going to start adding veggies into here, and if anybody in my audience today doesn't like any of these, just let me know, okay? So I'm just going to add, see, it just looks green and not very happy. So we're going to add carrots. And carrots are very, very, very anti-inflammatory. You're going to notice that everything here tonight is mostly anti-inflammatory, except for the peppers and the tomatoes. But everybody likes tomatoes, so I'm adding the tomatoes. Those are just gonna go. It's okay if you don't, I'll take them out just for you. So we're gonna add cucumber, because when you're building a salad, you wanna make sure that you have very simple elements. And your elements are a base, something unexpected, like sprouts, These are, to be specific, these are sunflower sprouts. And they have so many phytonutrients, you'd be amazed what a little bit of your sunflower sprouts can do for you. We're going to add radish. Everybody okay with radishes? Fabulous. Sounds good. So we're going to add radishes, and these are your cheat during detox. You want to know why? I know you do. So the reason why you want radishes in your diet is because during detox, you're not allowed to have anything spicy, but guess what? You can have radishes. And radishes are actually peppery in taste, and when they are ripe and delicious like you buy them at the store, they have this tendency to get a little bit spicy. So that's your cheat throughout your detox. And then after we do this, I'm gonna leave the best for last. I'm just gonna toss it around with my hands. Okie dokie. Just trying to get it all in there. I think my salad bowl is a little too small, but it's okay. You just want to add your cabbage in there. And there's nothing better than eating fresh veggies. I apologize, my Latina came out right there. To add color in your salads makes it more appealing to the eye. So, simple rainbow salad. I'm going to add it to one side but not the other. I'm so happy. So is everybody okay with peppers? We said yes, right? These are raw peppers, and the only bad thing about them is that they're not an anti-inflammatory. They're actually an inflammatory food. But the good thing about them is that aside from adding color, they can take your salad to the next level with the crunchiness and the extra burst of flavor that you're going to get from them. Your dressing won't need to have much for you to be able to enjoy your salad. So I'm just going to go ahead and serve it. I seem to have left. That's right. Any questions up till now? They're very simple recipes. So.
The peppers you put in were bell peppers?
They were baby bell peppers, and the reason that I chose baby over the big ones is that, first of all, some of us are on a budget, and baby bell peppers can actually last you longer. Even in your refrigerator, they'll last longer. Huh. So that's the main reason. And you, with one bell pepper, usually we add a full bell pepper, and then it's too much. So if it is way too much, what you do is you add a baby bell pepper, and it'll take your salad, same flavor, a little milder than the actual pepper, but it'll take your salad to the next level like the regular bell pepper, and you will not need to spend $3, or in some places, Puerto Rico,
They are quite expensive.
$5 and $7 for a bag of 3. I mean, that is a lot of money. So if you go and you buy your reusable baggie of your tiny baby bell peppers, it lasts you longer in the refrigerator, and you don't have to overuse, because then you don't feel obligated. Oh, I just cut into it. Now all the nutrients are spilling out into the air, and I'm just losing money here. So as soon as you cut something, just know that the ingredients are already losing the nutrients. So by cutting your big bell pepper, you're just losing ingredients right there.
And they're so easy to use that I can use them.
Exactly. That's important too. And this dressing that I have right here, somebody told me it looks like guacamole. So I'm just gonna say it's not guacamole because it's missing the onion and the other stuff that usually goes with guacamole. This is a basic detox dressing. It has no oil, no salt, no pepper. And if you can't use balsamic, right? Which I'm not gonna, do you want me to put some on yours either way?
Yes.
If you can't use balsamic vinegar, you can replace it with, if you don't make your own, you can buy organic, but you can replace it with vegetable broth. And if you buy it organic, make sure, if you buy it in the store, make sure to buy it organic, because it won't have sulfates or MSGs in it. And another thing is that the sodium content, you need to look at it before you buy it. Because if you are on detox, you want to keep your sodium intake very low. Specifically sodium that's not natural. Now, if you make it at home, you can add as much celery as you want, and it'll be as salty as you want, but it won't have any extra salt. So if you're making your own, I encourage you to use celery seed and celery cut up. It'll give it an extra kick of, salt. Any questions? No?
That's
See?
interesting. So celery makes things taste salty?
Yes, ma'am. It's a natural salt.
Huh.
And
Can
it'll,
you use anything else?
you can use, before they used to say that lemon would actually give you like that sensation. But I don't know, nothing beats celery. I'm sorry,
Would it
nothing
be-
does.
Using lemon would be like making it a little bit salty, but at the same time.
It'll just give it taste. So what people look, when you add more salt to your meal, what you're looking for is, it doesn't taste like anything. And I've heard that so many times. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste like anything. And, oh, I'm adding cilantro leaves,
Oh.
fresh and organic. I know I say that word a lot, but there's a dirty 15 and a clean 15, and herbs are not routine. So what happens is when you're looking for taste, anything that will give you what you're looking for will make you feel better. So before it was like, let's add lemon because lemon will add taste. So since lemon added taste equal, I don't have to use salt. But now we know better. We can use celery seeds, which comes like this. It comes grinded already. You don't have to worry about it. You just add a little bit, let it stir, add a little more until you get it to the consistency you want. You'll notice that this specific dressing doesn't need a lot because it does have the balsamic vinegar in it.
So you could just replace salt with celery seeds
I
on anything.
would, yes. Yes. Especially sauces and raw stuff will be much better with celery seed. Ladies, think. Ms. Robin? You want some? I know you don't, so I don't know. Do you want some?
Feel free to share.
So, while we're nobbing down our delicious rainbow salads, I'm going to continue the class, and I hope that is okay with everybody, because if not, we'll be here forever.
It's delicious.
Oh, thank you.
Really
How is
delicious.
the combination in there? Does it work for you? I see nods. They don't talk because they're not. They're going.
Dressing is perfect.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it. I made it ahead of because, like I said, I need both my tools tonight to make the rest of the soups and stuff. So I'm going to move on to my asparagus soup. And since tonight is all about getting to know our ingredients, I want to talk a little bit about what we're making before we actually use it. So asparagus is an antioxidant, and it's actually, you're not gonna guess it, it's anti-inflammatory too. So mostly everything that we're using tonight helps with inflammation. And it is very important for those of you who live a regular American life to have American diet, to eat an American diet, to have something in the middle of the week that will help with that high inflammation food that you're consuming. So asparagus is actually an anti-inflammatory and an antioxidant. And it looks like green beans, but I promise you they're asparagus. I cut them up ahead of time and I washed them very thorough. There are 12 stalks in here. Even though it looks like so little, it'll actually give it that little taste that actually that soup requires.
Is there a difference in taste with the thin asparagus opposed to the really thick asparagus that you get?
No, that's
Not really.
usually, I think that there is, because when you see asparagus at the store, usually the biggest, wait, this one doesn't have stock. Okay. That's the thickest that a normal asparagus will get. Why do I have this huge trunk?
Yes.
You know, they say that there's not, but I believe that they have to feed them something so that they get that big. So you got to be careful when you go to the store and be conscious about what you're buying.
So they should be thin on the thin side.
I don't know. For me, they should be thin because if it wasn't the norm, then why some are thin? I'm staff,
Right.
You know, that's my question right there. So let's make this very, very, very good. So it has asparagus. I like to wash everything and cut it and keep it in baggies. And this is the way that I want you guys to see it, because if you prep your veggies ahead of time, right? Not all of them, but some of them. Let's say that you had extra time and you cut a couple veggies and you left them in your refrigerator. Yes, they lose the main, like the very high content of phytonutrients, but sometimes we just don't have the time. Like for me, Wednesdays, I get out of work at 7 or 8 o'clock. By the time I get home, I really don't want to get in the kitchen. And I love the kitchen. I love it. And we're going to use, I usually don't do this. I don't show the label of things. But this specific coconut milk has no guar gum in it. If you go to the store, all of your coconut milks will have coconut milk, water, guar gum, and preservatives.
Mm-hmm.
So this specific brand, Golden Star, it was bought at my favorite store. And I bought it because as soon as I looked at it, I'm like, oh, how interesting. It only has coconut milk and water. Where is it from? I have no idea where is it from. Hold on. California. It is from California. But it is in the Asian section. So when you look for it next to the Thai coconut milk, because everybody always raves about Thai online. They're like, oh, Thai coconut milk is the best. Today I sat, I'm like, oh, let me look at it. And it has so many preservatives, so many. And for this particular recipe, you actually want it to be full fat. So you don't want to buy the light one that has less preservatives. That can't be true because they have to cut it some way. So to start, we're going to cook our aromatics in a little veggie broth. I'm already heating up my skillet. And when you use skillets made out of stainless steel, because you don't want that chemical that comes from the non-stick pans, you're going to make sure that if you're not using any oils, you want to make sure that you use something cold to break the heat before you throw your ingredients in there because they'll get stuck. So what happens is it'll cool it down enough for you to be able to move around your ingredients. So once you have your hot pan, you drop your cold veggie broth in there, and then you move it around. Because it'll help it not get stuck. This recipe actually has quite a lot of garlic, but bear with me, it doesn't taste like garlic. We're just gonna crush it because it's just gonna go in the blender at the end of the day. So don't worry about making it looking pretty or cutting it smaller or whatever it is. Not ready. Because you're not going to be using the pretty thing, you're going to liquefy it in the end. And the reason I kept my celery, now I'm thinking about celery. My asparagus spears is the head of the asparagus spear is because it's such a pretty garment. And since you can eat asparagus raw, you might want to keep it if you're serving this to other people. You might want to keep it, and when you're done, You put an herb on top and you put a little spear on the top, and it'll make it look so much fancier than it really is. Okay, so it seems like that one's evaporating, so it should be ready to roll. Okay. Once you start seeing that whatever you put in the skillet starts to sizzle, you know it's ready. You want to make sure you don't put this too high, because you're just going to cook down the aromatics. Now, somebody a while back asked me, how do I get my onion to look so thin? Don't think that I spent long time doing that, because I really don't. I use my food processor, and I use my grating blade, put it on the top, it comes right down on the bottom, just looking like this, so pretty and nice. So we're gonna start cooking, and as soon as you start, for those of you at home, as soon as you start smelling the garlic, because as soon as you put the onion in, you're gonna be able to smell it. So once you start smelling the garlic, you might want to cool it down. That's what we're doing here. It's taking a little while. It'll get there. There we go.
We got a runner.
I got a runner. Okay, okay, stay out. So, do anyone here owns a Vitamix? You guys do. You guys are so lucky. But for those of you who don't, you can use your food processor to cream your soups. You just have to do it in batches. So tonight I'm going to show you how to do the full-on Vitamix batch, which is so easy and simple. And then, there we go. Can you guys smell that?
Yes.
Fantastic. That means that it's time to add the rest of my ingredients, because I want to cook it, but I don't want to kill it. So now we add these to just cook down a little bit. And it's not to cook mostly, it's just to soften them out so that when you put, if you're not going to be using a Vitamix and you're going to be using a food processor, you really don't want a cream soup to have like chunks of things in there. You kind of want it to be just a creamy, delicious soup. So you want to just soften it up. And don't be afraid to use the whole thing of asparagus except for the head. And I say this because when I took mine out of the bag, I freaked out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I saw different colors and I'm like, what is this and why is it different colors when I take it out of the bag? So I did my research. It's perfectly normal. They are supposed to be like that because, like us, no asparagus is the same. So you just want to make sure that you use the whole thing without waste. I don't like waste. Okay, so I'm missing something and I can't find it on my thing. I'm gonna use my celery seed. And I'm using about a full tablespoon, a full teaspoon. Because it does have coconut cream, it'll fight that sweetness. And it'll give it, can you guys smell that? Not yet. It'll smell instantly. As soon as you put it in and you move it around,
Oh, yeah.
celery.
Yep.
That's all you can smell in the whole palate. Celery, which is perfectly fine and delicious. Another thing you can do if you don't want to use the celery seed and you just want to use the regular celery, you can replace the 1 teaspoon of celery seed for a full stalk of celery because it is going to be completely blended, so you don't have to worry about texture. Okay.
That smells good.
Do you get just as much flavor from a stalk of celery that you would from the celery seed?
You don't. But it is a way of just using your veggies at home. If you have it and you don't have celery seed at home, just don't go out and buy celery seed for one recipe. You know what I mean? Just use what you have at home. So the next step is the fun step. Okay. So once you're done and your asparagus looks brighter, you know you have to take it out. Because after the brighter stage comes the wilty, nasty, watery stage. And you don't want that. You just want it to be bright and beautiful. So you're going to see different shades. Like I said, you know, they come in different colors. And for those of you who are seeing me looking at my recipe, I just want to make sure that I'm putting everything as it goes. So then, after you use all of that, you're going to add a cup of vegetable broth. At this point, you can put it in your blender, or you can just put everything in the stove and wait for it to thaw down. But just know that you'll lose liquid out there. And you want to add the liquids first, especially if you own a Vitamix, because if you don't add your liquids first, it'll get stuck. You won't be able to do anything. Okay. And I did shake this very well before I even started cooking the vegetables, so I'm not mixing it again. I'm just going to throw it in there. Okie dokie smoky. It's almost there. Just taste it.
So much into the small pan.
I know, right? You don't think that there's that much. Oh my god, it smells so good in there. I like to eat. Eating is my thing. And piece of advice, when you're putting this hot stuff in here, you're gonna want to have your Vitamix away from your body, because if it does splash, trust me, it'll be hot. You just took it off the stove. And then if your Vitamix has the soup button, do that. And if your Vitamix is old, you just have to turn it on, high speed. And if you have a blender instead of a Vitamix, you just want to do it in a high speed, not as high as crushing ice, but not as low as a puree. So you want to make sure you do the happy medium on your machine. And once I turn this on, it makes a lot of noise, so that's why I'm saying everything ahead. You're gonna use a high-speed blender, or you're gonna use a food processor by batches. And that's what we're gonna show you next. So I'm gonna turn up my thing. Okay. Oh, if I actually plug it, it might work, right, guys? This is live, people. This is live.
Not very long at all.
No, ma'am. Because you cooked some of your veggies. It is going to look kind of greenish, but it is a happy green. There we go. Now, you can either heat it up more if you like hot soup, but you can actually drink it warm. How do you guys prefer? Do you guys like it hot, or warm is okay? Warm is great. Warm is great. I like this class. They're so nice. These are way too nice.
Would you ruin it if you left it in the Vitamix too long? Would it?
No,
It'll get hotter. Right.
it'll just get hotter. and it'll kind of cook your coconut cream.
Weird.
And it just doesn't, no.
Okay.
So it's not gonna look super creamy, but it is gonna have a thicker consistency than if you made it with water, which is what you wanna achieve. You wanna get it to the point, add enough celery, so that you can see that it's not white. And as you keep pouring, you will notice, I wish I could show you guys. Hold on. I think I did, I can't. Oh, I had a bigger one. So as you pour it, you're gonna see the little pieces of celery coming out. And that's what you're gonna be appreciative in your soup.
Asparagus?
Asparagus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, I've spoken about celery so much that is all in a bunch here, but. Oh, that one fell. After you put your head in, your asparagus head added, you want to serve it immediately. Because of the temperature, the head is going to start to cut. And I don't know if you guys seen what happens when you cook a head of the asparagus. It actually starts to shed. So you're going to see, why are they all facing up? You're going to see the soup getting those little pesky little things all over it. So, you guys, please.
Everybody jumped up.
That's fabulous. Okay. And for my final trick, no, I'm kidding. As you can see, the soup is sweet, but not coinly sweet like it's a smoothie. So that's what you want. You want it to be sweet because you are adding natural sweeteners like coconut. But you don't want it to be so sweet that it tastes like dessert because it is soup. Okay? It is soup.
So it's intended more to eat it on the cool side than too hot?
I like it cooler, but since the colder months are ahead of us now, you might want to warm it up after you make it, warm it up on your stove, and just by a little bit, and everything will be right with the world. Just make sure it's not the head. I'm just saying. I'm just going to keep on saying that, because it happened to me, and it just looked like little things fell in my soup. It just doesn't work for me visually. It needs to look pretty, okay? It just needs to be visually appealing to my senses. Okay, and now for my final trick, like I said. We're making carrot ginger soup. And that too will have coconut milk in it. And you'll see that it has a completely different taste than this one we just made. And if you're like me and you buy when you can and you buy in a budget, let's say you bought more than one can because it was buy one, get one free, this is the perfect recipe to follow up your asparagus soup. That, by the way, is it good? Yeah.
Very good.
Fabulous.
Very flavorful.
And see, it's just had those 4 or 5 ingredients. 4 ingredients, actually. Yeah. It doesn't take a lot to make delicious food, just takes patience. So now I'm going to use my big skillet because I'm going to use a large amount of liquid for the soup. And that's why it needs to be divided once you're going to make use your food processor. Because the food processor takes so much, only a little bit of liquid. Because this line right here is the same as this in here. So as soon as it fills up to there, it'll start leaking underneath. Take it from somebody who's who's had carrot soup all over her counter. I did not own a Vitamix, so I wanted to make it creamy.
Joey, I'm doing something similar, and instead of doing it that way, choose the carrots in a juicer, then transfer it to the Vitamix.
That completely makes sense. that absolutely makes sense. The difference,
Roast them too?
you can roast them, which is one of the little tips in your thing. It just says you can bake them ahead of time, so that cuts your cooking time in half. But I decided to use these tiny little carrots, and they are our friends. And they're our friends because, let me put on some gloves. I'm touching everything with gloves. I'm cuckoo. I'll pay attention more. So, all you gotta do for these babies to cook faster is you cut them in half or you poke them a couple of times, and they'll cook way faster than your regular standard carrot. So what you wanna do is either slice them, which takes a long time. You can even take your food processor and do the same thing I do with my onions. You can do it with your carrots. But this is your main ingredient, so you don't want to skim out on it. You want to make sure you use a pound, 1 full pound of carrots. If you want to use more, be my guest. But this is your main taste right here, this and ginger. And you'll notice as soon as we heat these two together, the smells in this place, I'm sorry you can't smell it, are gonna be fantastic. So I'm just heating my skillet there.
So depending on how many people you're serving, how many carrots would you recommend?
So let's say that you wanna make half the recipe, and you use half the amount. That gives you at least 2 people, a full serving size, which I don't know about you, but I like my carrot soup, so it has to be big. Now, you can use a half a pound. You can use a half a pound. Or if you're gonna make a single serving, you're gonna use a quarter of a pound. And the reason I'm saying a quarter rather than half a pound still is because I love my fiber and I love my carrots. So if I can get it to taste exactly as it does when I make a big batch, I will. Now the rest of the ingredients are a little trickier when you're gonna make a half of a batch, because this takes 32 ounces of vegetable broth. And you can, might as well, use half of that. Or just make the full batch and save it for the next night or a couple of nights after. Once you put it in your refrigerator, don't freeze it. Please don't freeze it. Please, I'm begging. But you can, these carrots are biting back. You can put it in your refrigerator, and just like our carrot noodles, they can stay in your refrigerator airtight for 5 to 7 days. And even with all of these ingredients that you're adding in, that'll just help you preserve it longer. Wait, nobody wants plastic. That'll just help you preserve it longer. Like your vegetable broth, if you bought it store-bought, it'll help you preserve the integrity of, a couple more. I'm just gonna make half a batch, guys. So that'll just help you preserve the whole soup for a long period of time in the refrigerator, and you'll be able to eat it. Let's say you ate it on a Monday, you can eat it Friday.
Does it taste just as good?
What you do when you're gonna heat it up, you're gonna start your skillet with a little bit of liquid, like your vegetable broth. Don't use water because then you'll thin it out. You're gonna thin it out. Use something with flavor. So let's say you're boiling fresh carrots, which is unlike if you're gonna drink carrot soup. But let's say you're boiling fresh carrots, then use that liquid, or use vegetable broth and add some celery seed to that liquid, or celery stalks, or whatever you want to use, and that'll get you where you gotta be. Okay.
Was that
So-
vegetable broth?
Yes, this is just vegetable broth. What I use here, I only use detox, which means alkaline ingredients that have no salt, no pepper, no what do you call it? No preservatives. This is ginger that I took the time to grate it. Once you grate ginger, I'm sorry, it'll look like pudding. There's no way that you can grate ginger and make it look like straight carrots. It'll look like beautiful mashed ginger. So that's what happened. Okay. We're going to start with the same base, which is
Sorry, again, why did you say don't use water?
because it'll thin it out. It'll thin your soup out, and then it'll compromise the taste. So now we are cooking this down for a little bit, and I'm gonna leave this cooking first because you want the onion to get transparent. The beauty about using your food processor to shred your carrots, or a grater to shred your carrots, is that it'll cook really fast, in a jiffy. And you can actually do this ahead of time, keep it in the bag, make sure that the bag is completely sealed, because if not, your refrigerator will smell deliciously and not appealing. And let me add
What temperature should the burner be on, like a medium high or?
medium high all the way. Same process with your garlic on this one, because you are going to put it in a blender or a food processor. You really don't need to cut it pretty or make sure that it's not too much in one section, because you will blend it out. Any questions? I know that the questions are happening as the recipe's going, but I'm always going to ask if there are any questions that nobody is saying. You guys at home can actually make questions, and I have a handy little dude right behind the camera. He will ask the questions for you. Okay, so once your onion is transparent, it still has that basic color. When you cut a yellow onion, usually it has a little green to it. That's what you're looking for, it not to lose. So you want to make sure that it has a little green in it. And this is when the fun starts. These are 3 tablespoons, which again can make the recipe a little spicy, but since we are battling, come on,
What is that you're putting in there now?
ginger. Oh, you'll smell it, trust me. It's coming. Since you are bottling
Oh, yeah,
the
there it goes.
coconut milk, I'm so glad that you guys can smell it's freestyle. They're so good. And now it'll look like mush. As soon as you add the ginger, it'll bind everything together. So it'll look like everything's just binded. So then at this point, once you can smell your ginger, your garlic, your onion, you're just gonna go ahead. Ugh. This is vegetable broth.
Is that homemade vegetable broth?
Yes, sir, yes it is. You know the answer to that question. So
Now, is that cold? You use that?
no,
cold?
this one you don't need to be, it doesn't need to be
have
cold.
cold.
Because you're not using it to fight the ingredients sticking to your skillet.
That
This
will
is just to boil your carrots in.
Okay.
So now you want to get this to boil so that it can cook your carrots. And I only added half of what it says in the recipe because we're not too many. And as it starts to boil, you're going to be able to, the fumes that are going to come out are just going to be ginger. You're not going to be able to smell anything else, just the ginger. And you truly don't want this to be low and slow by now. Since you're going to add your carrots, you need this to be high. Another thing is that just know that you don't have to cook your carrots all the way through. If you want to keep some of that raw deliciousness, it'll be hot all the way, but it won't be completely cooked, and you'll still get most of the I have a problem with that word. Phytonutrients. Phytonutrients. So those are just the basic nutrients that your ingredients have. So you don't want to lose the anti-inflammatory, the fiber, the potassium, and I don't know if you knew this, but aside from staining like crazy, just like a beet, it'll actually help fight night blindness. So carrots are wonderful. They help you fight night blindness. Once you start seeing bubbles come out, you're going to leave the mixture alone and you're just going to add the carrots in there. You're not going to mix it until you're ready to take your carrots out. Now you're going to notice that your carrots are going to be more than what your liquid is. That is good. That is fantastic. Because you are adding more liquid after. You're adding a full can of full fat coconut milk. So you want, oh my God, this smells so good. Okay. You want your carrots to be the main event. I don't think I can lift this, so I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to look like the whole pan is just a little bit of garlic, a lot of onion, and a lot of carrots. Any questions? No. I love this class. I love it. They're so quiet and attentive. Okay. So I'm not going to boil it for 25 minutes. I'm going to do what I just told you. We're just going to cook them almost there. So that's going to take about 10 minutes. So before I put it in my blender, I do want to talk to you guys about the rest of the ingredients that are in the soup, right? Like the garlic. The garlic is also an anti-inflammatory. It actually helps with high blood pressure, and it is a fantastic addition to anything you add it to. I'm sorry, but you put garlic in something, and it is fantastic. Onions are rich in sulfur compounds, and it sounds scary, but those are actually what help your cardiovascular system work. So you need those in your system. It's really good for you. It actually inhibits the bone loss in women, reduces the blood pressure, and even lowers the cholesterol levels. I mean, onion is fantastic. Just know that if you cook it all the way, you're not getting anything.
Oh, really?
Because you're overcooking your ingredients. You're killing them. So you want to boil it to a point that you don't kill all of your ingredients. You want to keep some of those source nutrients that are what's going to make this a healthy soup. Because you can say, oh, but carrots are healthy, and onion is healthy, and everything on its own is healthy. Once you put it on your stove, it starts to die. Even as you buy it at the store, it's dying, because if you leave it in your refrigerator too long, it goes bad. No, it doesn't. It dies completely. It's a live. It's a living ingredient that if you don't take care of it, you're just not getting any nutrients. Okay, so I'm going to open the pan. I can smell the carrots, but I want you guys to smell them too.
What is the best way to store raw carrots?
Oh, yeah. So you need to store raw carrots like you store your strawberries in an airy container. And if you, for example, let's say that your refrigerator is very, very low and it's creating condensed, like, you're gonna see little dots of water in your refrigerator.
Yeah.
And if you see that in all your bowls, you need to put a paper towel in your veggie bowls, because that'll help them stay good for a long time.
What about freezing them? Wouldn't that help or?
It has a protein, the carrot has a protein that if you don't add anything to it and you freeze it, it'll just turn like gummy and nasty and very, very hard. So that's why when you make carrot noodles, you want to refrigerate them. You can refrigerate them, but you can't freeze them. It's like sweet potatoes and potatoes. They all have the same basic protein that actually doesn't allow you to freeze something for a long period of time. That's why when you buy it frozen at the store, guess what? You're buying a pile of preservatives. It's better to just buy it fresh, cut it, and refrigerate it. That's fantastic. That's the best way to go. So as soon as you start smelling your carrots, since I cut them in half, you're gonna see them change color. And I'm gonna show you guys. You're gonna see them change color. See how pretty that looks? It's very hot. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
So it's a little bit lighter in color, right?
It's just lighter. So if I put this against this,
Oh, yeah. A lot
see the
lighter.
difference?
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of lost its orangey. It's because it's in the liquid now. And that's what carrots do. They give their color to everything, including baby skin, when you feed them too much. Adults get it too, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you see some weird colors, and it's because sometimes you say, oh, it's the suntan. No. That guy eats a lot of carrots. That's what I think. I'm hoping that it's that, right? I'm hoping that they're not putting so many things on themselves, but you know, you never know. All the liquid is already kind of orangey and yellow in color, which means that our carrots are halfway through. They're so beautiful. And again, very simple ingredients, and it doesn't take too long. Now, if you baked your carrot, you don't want to put it to boil for a long time. You want it to boil still because your liquid, for it to be that kind of soupy, nice deliciousness, it needs to contain some of the carrot in it. It can't just be liquid with onion and garlic, because that's what it's going to taste like. It's going to taste like liquid, garlic, onion, and coconut. That doesn't sound very good.
No.
It really doesn't. So when you add your ginger and your carrots in there, it actually balances out with your coconut cream or milk. You can use coconut cream. It has to be unsweetened though, because it's sweet enough without the extra sweeteners. Okie dokie, artichoke. So once they reach their halfway point, I'm just gonna leave it a little more just in case. I hope you guys don't mind. I know
Now,
you guys
if
are
you
so
were-
patient.
If you were cooking that in the Vitamix,
Mhm.
do you have to cook it so long in there, or could you just leave it longer in the Vitamix and have it cook through the
It
Vitamix?
needs to be a little longer on the stove and a little less on your Vitamix.
Okay.
First of all, it's very, very hot.
So
So- It should be mushy. Like once you put it in your Vitamix, everything gets destroyed anyway.
Yeah,
But the thing is that if you cook it on the stove and then you put it in your Vitamix and you leave your Vitamix on for a long time,
yeah.
it'll shut down.
Oh,
So you need to get it to the point that you need, or right before that, so that your Vitamix can finish the job.
okay.
This gets hot too.
So I didn't know, so the Vitamix actually turns itself off if it gets too hot?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And if you leave it-
Well,
If you have it too low,
Uh-huh.
it'll just lock
it hasn't
for about
stayed-
20 minutes.
Oh,
Yes, you actually have to stop cooking.
oh.
Yeah, that happened to me in a class already. It happened to me in the mango tart, in the mango tart class. What?
The very first one.
No, it wasn't the first one. It was the mango tart with the apple pie. And thank God for this little guy. It was the first time I used the Vitamix. And I turn it on and I tell Roseanne goes, do you know how to use it? And I go, yeah, in theory, I know how to use it. So I turn everything on and I make it go high and I make it go low and I left it too low while I was pushing it down with the plunger and it shut down. So I had to throw everything in here to finish the tarts. Thank God I had this cleaned already and it was ready to go because when I make a crust, I use my food processor because the Vitamix gets stuck with the dates and stuff. But the food processor does it. Okay, fabulous. Even the garlic will change color, guys. It'll get lighter.
So those carrots, we want them really, really mushy.
No, like I said, you can have them halfways.
Oh, half them.
You can have them halfways. Just make sure that they're not raw, because your Vitamix is not going to get them there. They're going to keep boiling, because that's what happens when you have a hot skillet. They're going to keep boiling. Come on, don't burn. Okay. So now I'm going to use a measuring cup. Actually, let's just use the cup. Because if you're going to use another instrument that is not the Vitamix, you want to make sure to measure it out. Make sure that it doesn't, Michael, that is my camera. And as you go putting it in, it'll automatically turn a different shape. And the reason I'm not adding a lot more is because you guys gotta remember, we still need to add the coconut milk. And again, same coconut milk.
We gotta get your camera.
I know.
I have
Seriously,
one.
watching her do that.
I have one. Just so happens I left it.
So there's a ratio of coconut milk to the carrot mixture?
Yeah. So for one full can, you want to use a pound of carrots, right? So one full can has 16 ounces? 13 ounces. That means that it has about a cup and 3/4 in a can. So you don't want the coconut milk to be the only thing you taste. So you want to make sure I don't need too much. And this is the difference, you guys, from a Vitamix to a food processor. It takes you see that we're not even at our max fill, so we're able to add more carrot to it, which is what we want. Okay, fine. If you like the taste of raw ginger, at this time is the best time to add more ginger to it. Know that by using something else than a high-speed blender, you are going to have chunks of carrot in there. No matter how long you process it, it'll still have little chunks, and it's due to the fibrous texture of the carrot and that the size won't be, the Escalade won't be able to crush it off.
But it's always good to choose.
It's
Yeah, it'd
always
be nice
to-
to try.
So for me, it's all about how's it look. So it needs to look orange because I'm having carrot soup.
That's a pretty color right now.
I know, it's such a wonderful color right now. So. It's not there yet.
What are you adding?
Celery seed, of course. Come on.
Not hot sauce?
Not hot sauce.
It's a lot.
Not hot sauce. No
They go
salt. Pepper. Just something to bring all the ingredients together. Oh, this one's hot and nice. Sorry. Another unbenefit that tomato work don't repeat it. Of not using your Vitamix is the process to serve your soup. Now, if you're my husband who's sitting behind there, and you like something to chew on, this is your tool. If you just want cream of something, and you don't want it to be with any texture, or I shouldn't say with any texture, I should say just cream, use a high-speed blender. Okay? Then this is your soup. Simple, fast, and easy. You just put everything on the stove, then put everything on the blender, walk away, done. Any questions? Any
Yeah,
yeah, yours?
Yeah, we could use our own.
I am so happy. They even recycle, you guys. They can even recycle. Thank you. Now,
Oh, it looks great.
to your soup, obviously you can pair it with your salad. You know, have a soup and salad. See how you can taste everything in the soup.
Very good. I like the crunch.
And nothing
I
is.
agree with you.
See, Robin agrees with mine. And nothing is overpowering anything. You can't just taste one thing.
Right.
You can taste all your flavors in a layer. You know, it's a layer under layer under layer. As you eat your soup and as you get to your next bite, you notice something else.
You're right.
You know, as you eat
It's
something, you just
soup
notice.
surprise.
Exactly, because you have your first bite and you go, okay, so this tastes like coconut. Then you taste it again, you go, oh, this tastes like carrot. Oh, wait, this has ginger in it.
Right.
So it is a process for your body. It is so healthy and good for you. And if you are on a detox diet, it'll help because detox is not surprising to some. You know, it's usually salad and the same thing over and over every night because I have no idea what else to cook. So it's very important to have soup surprise. And that is what that soup is. It layer under layer, and it'll actually help you keep satiated for a long time because it has a lot of fiber between the coconut and the carrot. Are you kidding? It has so much fiber and is so good for you.
It's delicious.
Very good.
Fantastic. Is there any other question that I need to answer before I say goodbye to those at home? No? All right, fantastic. You guys have a fantastic night. I'll see you next time.